joining us in the state of South Dakota as well. And South Dakota gets set to take on North Dakota State in a matchup of Missouri Valley teams. And LT, I think it's one of those games for South Dakota. It's a measuring stick for them. I know the season has not started the way they wanted to, in particular in conference play, but they have a chance to make a statement here today. And again, it's going to be really important for them to get off to a quick start.
Well, the one thing with the Coyotes, too, and people we've talked with this week have all said that USD has certainly gotten better. They're better than where they were. There's more talent on the roster than there was before, but they're still quite a ways behind the rest of the Valley to this point in the program.
North Dakota State, meanwhile, 2-0 in Valley play. It has not been easy, certainly last week against Northern Iowa. Before we kick things off, we will get started with today's national anthem.
As they honor America in the presentation of our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The fans always letting the visitors know who the home really belongs to here in Fargo. And LT, I know for North Dakota State, you talked about getting off to a quick start and really showing some signs of life after a very emotional game last week. And I think that really starts with some of the senior leadership, and Chris Kleiman addressed that Monday in the press conference.
Yeah, he certainly did. You expect those guys to lead your team, and so far they have. But the main thing, I think, for NDSU, don't make mistakes. Don't give the other team a little bit of hope. We saw last week how mistakes kind of derailed the Bison on a couple of drives. NDSU probably left 10 or 12 or 14 points out there, and then they needed the heroics late.
Beth Hool on the sidelines for us today has a PetroServe USA sideline report. Beth.
Hey guys, another exciting day here where the Bison are looking to establish that two-back running game in this football game today. North Dakota State at South Dakota last year was a huge breakout game for King Frazier. They're going to need another big game from him today, and they're also looking for Bruce Anderson to step up. It's time for him to make a name for himself and show Bison Nation what he has to offer to this running game. Expect NDSU to limit Carson Wentz when it comes to his reps in the running game this week. He took a good beating last week against Northern Iowa in a physical game where he had a lot of pass rushers coming at him. They're going to need to limit his reps just for the longevity of the season that they hope to see. Expect that run game, expect to see those numbers, and expect to see those running backs making a big difference in this game. Guys?
All right, thanks so much, Beth. And when you look at South Dakota, a big reason their running game has been successful at times is because of what they've had in the backfield, namely number 21, Trevor Bama. He is the guy that really gets things going on the ground game, averaging 6.5 yards a carry when he's been out there.
It's going to be interesting to see how healthy Bama is. He's broke his arm, and he has a plate in his arm, and he smashed that against the face mask. But just look at the numbers. In the 2 USD wins, Bama has 303 yards rushing. In the 3 Coyote losses, he has 38. So if there's a glaring split between what he means to the offense, that might be the most glaring for the Yotes.
And Beth talked about Carson Wentz and the beating he took last week. And Chris Kleiman addressed it this week, saying, I hope people realize just how special what he's doing is. I don't think people quite realize what Carson is doing to make the offense work is not the norm. It's extremely difficult to do everything he does.
Whenever someone talks about Wentz, one of the first words that they say is how competitive he is, which is awesome. but he also gets himself at times in a little bit of trouble because he will hang in there till the bitter last split second to maybe get that pass off. He took a lot of hits last week. He is beat up a little bit. He has a little bit of a hip pointer. You know, his ankle still, you know, it's not bad. You don't see him limping like he did earlier this year, but still the ankle's not 100%. He was hit and hit hard. That offensive line needs to keep him clean today.
One other guy we talked to this last week was defensive coordinator Matt Entz for North Dakota State. I remember we talked to him on the conference call. I said, did anybody play well, Matt, this last week? Flat out in about a second, no, nobody played well this last week.
In fact, I wrote down Matt's direct quote, no standout performances last week.
Again, Matt did say we played well for 50 snaps,
yeah,
but the other 8 snaps, they gave up almost 250 yards. NDSU won the toss, they defer, so South Dakota will have the ball first. This is a Peterson Pharmacy kickoff for Ben LeCompte, and we are underway here at the Fargo Dome. The return man for South Dakota is Paul Anderson. He's been dynamic this year. He is taken down by a host of Bison, including Levi Jordheim, the walk-on from Dickinson at the 19-yard line.
Yeah, Anderson's a kid they really like his upside, and a lot of the Coyote people who I talked with said, hey, he's the first guy that the Coyotes have had in a long time that they feel can take it all the way every time he touches it on a return.
When you talk about his ability long-term, they say maybe like a Stefan Logan, and you got to go back almost 10 years since Stefan Logan played at USD. So Ryan Sager will bring out the USD offense. Sager averaging right around 167 yards a game, completing 54% of his passes. Sager to throw here on first down, easy pitch and catch. And caught there by Eric Shuford. Shuford, the leading receiver for South Dakota, gains 4 up to the 22, excuse me. Shield starting lineup, starting with the North Dakota State University defense. The front 4 played well for the most part, but they had a couple of missed assignments last week. Nick DeLuca, the leading tackler, and Trey Dempsey and Chris Board manning the safety spots for NDSU. Outside handoff on the jet sweep goes to Shamar Jackson, who's getting his hands on the ball more and more every week. Gains a yard up there for a 3rd and 5 opportunity coming up. USD offense, Shield starting lineup. We talked about Sager. Drew Potter is the fullback. Bama is the starter. We will see probably a couple of true freshmen today as well in the backfield, including Michael Frederick and Nate Gunn. The offensive line beat up. Ed Kennedy making only his 2nd career start after Sam McLaren sustained a spinal cord injury last week at Western Illinois. Movement up front, flags go flying. Both Derek Chancellor jumped along with Brad Ambrosius.
Ball start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Yeah, Chancellor, the most senior of in terms of experience on that starting offensive line. This is his 32nd start of his college career, so he's a guy that as the senior leader of that group, you don't expect to see a lot of that.
NDSU 3rd in the country in first downs allowed.
The Coyotes have not been a very dynamic down the field team through the air, so now they got to get at least 10 yards to get a first.
Sager under pressure, flushed out, steps up, tried to throw it across the middle. The intended target on the play was Aaron Ramsey, the tight end, incomplete, and a 3-and-out for USD to start.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Sager has to step up. Why? There's the pressure from both of the outside rushers on the defensive end. Nobody in his face, but he really didn't have much of a window to try to get that pass in there to the tight end. MJ Stump, number 41, in perfect position.
So Miles Bergner on for his first punt. Nice high punt, driving Eric Perkins back to his own 33. Perkins got smacked right at the 33-yard line. Big hit on the play by number 32 there for South Dakota State, Jet Moreland, to back up safety.
Well, the Coyotes had 3 people in really good position, almost a block and a back. I thought they may have got away with one right there, but yeah, Perkins had no chance to try to turn the corner and get upfield. Boy, the key is to get upfield as soon as you can. Perkins didn't have a chance. USD right there.
So Carson Wentz bringing the Bison offense out on the field. They will start in the shotgun here, 2 backs to the left.
A little bit different look, kind of a new look.
Wentz to throw. We'll just dump it off to Urzendowski, who is the motion man. Gets what he can, maybe a couple of yards up to the 36-yard line. Ian Lagi pushes him out of bounds for a minimal gain. Shields starting the lineup, starting with the Bison offense. Carson Wentz, we've talked about some of the great numbers he's put up. Zach Zemer getting his first start at center. He did start 2 games at guard earlier this season when both Jack Plankers and Zach Johnson were out. Jedry Sear caught his first touchdown pass of his career last week against Northern Iowa.
And in the drive, Zemer did such a good job. He had to come in for Kunert, and his snaps and everything were spot on in the most critical point of the game in which he didn't play until then.
Play action, naked boot. Wentz fires right on target. Beautiful little pitch and catch. As that catch, I believe, was made by Zach Vra on the far sideline for a first down. And Vra getting closer to another NDSU receiving record.
He came in needing 30 yards from passing Cole Heckendorf for most yards. Here's an ISO situation. Just a little out, naked bootleg, something that's on the play chart, so don't be surprised at all to see Carson Wentz do a lot more of that this week.
Bonnet the motion man. Mike Lilly on the coverage there for South Dakota. Stretch handoff. Bruce Anderson, the electric freshman, getting around the edge, and he is pushed out of bounds at the 40. A yard short of a first down. Coming up to make the stop on the play for South Dakota was Will Armstead, backup defensive back. USD defense starting lineup, also brought to you by Shields. Drew Iddings, a 6'6" defensive tackle. Andrew Van Ginkel has really been a nice surprise as a redshirt freshman for South Dakota. Already 5 sacks, leads the team.
He'll remind you of Tyler Starr, just in his build and his blonde hair. They like him as much as they did Starr, and we all know how well Starr played in Vermillion.
Quick drop, easy pitch and catch there to Darius Shepard. Shepard, the hero last week, coming on in the second half for a pair of touchdown catches against Northern Iowa. Has another Bison first down up to the 25.
Well, last week, Shepard, we were told, probably only had a half a game in him with that sprain on his AC joint. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. This week, obviously feeling much better. You see the corner slip down there, allows Shepard to get the first down. But the fact that Darius is playing from the get-go on the first drive is a good sign for the Bison.
Official timeout.
Now they spotted the ball in the wrong spot. You see the 2 little hash marks right there? The ball was spotted on the one to the bottom of the screen. You need to be right in line with the yard markers.
And Chris Kleiman running downfield was right on top of that. Wentz setting up the screen, flaring it out to Chase Morlock, who's got blockers. Inside the 20, Morlock pulling his way down to the 10-yard line, finally pushed out of bounds by Armstead, but the Bison will have a 1st and 10 coming up at the 11.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, a lot of different looks. There you see Wentz with the little pump fake there. Other routes, you see Kelly, number 54, Jeremy Kelly, with probably the key block that helped spring Morlock in order to get the first down. Chase after the catch, pretty good move. We were trying to wonder how he was going to look today with that ongoing ankle injury that he's dealing with. Not bad on that play.
NDSU in the Superior Inc. red zone for the first time today, and the Bison have been really good in the red zone so far this season. Wentz to throw. Inside, caught by Bonnet. Tries to squeak away, but can't do it. A couple of yards short of a first down up to the 3-yard line.
Well, you mentioned really good. How about 13 touchdowns in of the 16 previous scores in the red zone? Yeah, that's really good.
Bonnet not targeted a ton early in the season. Just
None
his
of the
third
tight
catch.
ends really have been that much. But when the tight ends have been, they've made some nice catches. And Warner with a decent tackle right there. He's the leading tackler for the Oats to keep him out of the end zone.
Inside handoff, all sorts of room, and that is the first career touchdown for Bruce Anderson.
His offensive line did not make him struggle on that one. Gorgeous job on the left side. Joe Haig, he gets the kick out. You see Zach Johnson with a great big push. His man's already in the end zone. Anderson had, well, I mean, he could have ate a sandwich before getting into the end zone on that one. Great job on the left side of the offensive line.
And the Bison move right down the field, 67 yards on that drive in just over 3 minutes. Cam Peterson adds the extra point, and North Dakota State starting strong. leading 7-0 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. They start him young.
Going back to the touchdown, look at Zach Johnson did. I mean, Drew Iddings is 6'6", 285 pounds, and he did not have a chance on that play. It was one-on-one, and Johnson won that battle.
Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kickoff your playing season with Peterson Farm Seed. That once again is Anderson at the 1, sidesteps one tackler, and then taken down by a host of Bison, including Matt Plank and Jalon Wimbush, right at the 20-yard line.
Jordheim is in on that one again.
And the Yotes relegated LT to playing a lot of young kids, true freshmen and redshirt freshmen. But I think they believe Joe Glenn, looking at the long-term future of the program, believe these guys can turn things around. They finally got some game breakers.
Yeah, they need blocking though too. So far in the first 3 plays, I know that the Coyotes have only run 3 plays, but they did not look good in those 3 plays. So this, believe it or not, second drive of the game for the team in white, I think it's an important one. They need a couple of first downs.
Inside handoff goes to Bama. He's wrestled down by MJ Stump, but good gain on first down of almost 6. Take a look at the Bobcat game recap, and again, 3 minutes, 7 plays, 66 yards, capped off by Bruce Anderson, touchdown run.
In terms for the interior, or the front 7 of the NDSU defense, the 4 down linemen and the linebackers, they are going to see a lot of blocks up front, especially in those interior runs like the last one. Very similar looks to what the Bison offensive line does.
Bama again taken down by DeLuca, 2 yards short of a first down up to the 28.
Now you can see that the players are going at it a little bit. There was a little bit extra afterwards between Potter, the fullback, and I think it was G. Tucker. Those two kind of wrapped up and hit hard against each other. Football is definitely an emotional sport. There's no doubt about it. You have to go all out all the time.
Schubert in motion. Sager keeps, and he is right at the marker. I think he's just got enough up to the 30.
Well, the Bison are trying to say the ball came out. But yes, Sager looked like he was going to dance his way a little bit short of that first down, and then he made the lunge right at the end and picked up exactly what he needed. Had a little happy feet there for a little while. Fake the jet, try to get the lead block from your running back. And if the tip of the ball touched the 30, it didn't touch it much, but that's all he needed.
Well, that was close to coming out, LT. I don't know if his knee ever did hit. South Dakota keeps the football. Sager to throw this time. Open receiver on the far sideline, and it was caught. And I think the Bison got it at the 50-yard line. The receiver, I believe, is Nick Meyer that dropped the football. And MJ Stump has the recovery.
Boy, this is a well-designed play on the fake. You see C.J. Smith gets a little burned at his eyes in the backfield, and that's not Meyer anyway. That with the pass catch, that was Schubert.
Completed pass.
So Schubert makes the catch.
North Dakota, first down, North Dakota.
Then Grimsley, along with Smith, knock it out of there.
That was Schubert that coughed it up. A drive that started promising ends up in a turnover, and the Bison on a short field.
The previous play of a fumble recovered by North Dakota State is under further review.
They're going to take a look at it as you take a look at MJ Stump, the junior linebacker from Harvey, North Dakota, former Hornet.
If this play stands and it goes against the Coyotes, you're right, Brian. That's exactly what this team was trying to avoid. You got your first down, you made your biggest play. It's a 20-yard gain, and all of a sudden you give the ball away.
And based on the replays we saw, LT, it's hard to believe that they could overturn this.
I wouldn't think so.
We'll look Mutual again. Insurance replay.
What do you think at home? We'll look at it at the same time and see what you think. Oh, didn't quite get there, but again, I like the design of the play. The play fake to the running back was a real good one. C.J. Smith got drawn in, got sucked in, and I tell you, that window out to the out was wide open because Grimsley, the deep safety, was the only guy anywhere near him.
The offensive coordinator, by the way, we should mention, for South Dakota's Wes Bashauner. People might remember that name and remember Wes, and he's actually I believe the brother-in-law of Ryan Smith, the former NDSU wide receiver.
And the Coyotes defensive coordinator, Jason Petrino, also has ties up to North Dakota. I knew Jason when he was working out at the University of Marion Bismarck. One of his first full-time jobs as a football coach was out there with the Marauders.
Taking a look at Carson Wentz, who's dealing with a hip pointer a little bit here today.
Kind of funny how both the Bison got their entire offense out there. The Coyotes offense is kind of standing in that bunch. Both offenses say, we think we're going to get the ball. And
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been confirmed. First down, North Dakota State.
one of the reasons Carson Wentz may have a big smile on his face early in this game, he's going to get control of the play calling. This might be the drive. Coach Hedberg thought it might be as early as the second series that Wentz will get to call the plays.
And Tim Polasek had mentioned that they might see a little bit of a no-huddle look, too, here in the first couple of drives, LT, just to change things up a little bit.
So if we see the no-huddle, that means Wentz is calling the plays. So we'll be able to tell after this one. But Bison with it at midfield.
Inside handoff, that's King Frazier, and Frazier pulls his way up to about the 44-yard line, gain of 6. And this is a no-huddle look, so here you go. Carson Wentz, you got the keys to the car on this drive. Wentz to throw. Drops it off, it's Frazier. Dives for a first down, and depending on where they mark him, nope, they're going to say he's out of bounds just a couple of yards short at the 41.5.
Third read on that play for Wentz. He gave a look to each side, maybe tried to go deeper to Vra. I guess he's just probably looking off the safety there. But Vra is out here now trying to make a block. He was first read about 15 yards deep.
Wentz trouble with the snap and now gets it out. And that is a wide open run for Frazier, who runs over the safety to the 22-yard line. A flag comes in. So this might all be for naught.
A flag came out right when Frazier was trying to turn it up and get going. This is also a play that the Bison felt they wanted it.
Holding. Offense number 59. 10-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Joe Hegg.
But the Bison have had a little bit of trouble with that pin and pull, and Coach Polasek talked about how they want to try to establish that play and get that play back in the confidence of the offense.
Frazier putting his head down. He just laid the wood. You know, people talk about defenders getting to hit people. That was a hit by the offensive player that King Frazier ran over the safety, Jacob Warner.
I can only remember once, and it happened way back in the 70s with Larry Zonka, where the guy with the football got called for a personal foul. He got called basically for roughing the tackler. It's awesome. I'll never forget that play.
Wentz to throw on 3rd and long. Flushed. He's going to look deep for Urzendowski, and this one is nearly intercepted as Urzendowski kind of broke off the route. In on the coverage was Will Armstead, and that will lead to a punting situation here for NDSU.
Armstead did a pretty good job to take Vra off of the route. I know he was along, and we didn't quite pick it up there, but there was a little bit of contact about 10 yards behind that, even though Armstead makes a nice play on the ball when the ball was in the air, but that's not going to get called because it's so far back. I know there's the back judge looking for that. There was some contact, but that contact took Vra off of his momentum and made him have to try to adjust to the ball in the air. Wentz could not get it where he thought he was going.
So Ben LeCompte, one of the best in the business, will try to pin the Yotes deep. This one bounces at the 2 and into the end zone, and South Dakota will start this drive coming up at their own 20. 7-0, North Dakota State leads on the A Country Farm
Media
Credit Services
timeout.
scoreboard. This game brought to you in high definition by KVLY and the NBC North Dakota Sports Network. A little bit of a chill in the air in Fargo today as it's starting to feel like October football.
Yeah, but the wind wasn't blowing 40, so it felt all right.
Inside handoff goes to Bama. Bama swallowed up. Boy, I tell you what, number 41 for South Dakota, Drew Potter.
He's hitting people.
He's playing to the whistle and beyond.
Yeah, that was where G. Tucker and him had that little push earlier, too.
This game also brought to you in high definition by Parents Lead. Have conversations with children that matter. Head to parentslead.org for more information.
That was a good way to call that, though, Brian. Swallowed up. There were about 5 Bison on top of Bama when he got the 2 yards gained.
Sager, play action champion on the blitz. Couldn't get there. Sager still on his feet. Dumping it off and off the hands of Potter, his intended target. But nice job by Sager keeping his feet after a bunch of Bison defenders were in the vicinity.
Well, there's a couple guys thought they had a beat on him, and Sager really did a good job. As you mentioned, Brian, Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, kind of feels champion, sidesteps that one, gets past Board, and then is able to get the pass off before Menard, who has shown his sacking ability, especially down in Brookings, was hot on his heels. But again, it's 3rd and long, so the Bison defense have the Coyotes right where they want them.
Defensive coordinator Matt Entz said, we feel really good about our nickel package in 3rd and 7+. We'll see what South Dakota can dial up here. Pressure coming on Sager. He lost the football and got it back at the 10-yard line. One of the offensive linemen fell on it there for South Dakota, Thomas McGuire.
Yeah, that was a fumble. It certainly looked like it was a fumble.
It was a fumble recovered by South Dakota, 4th down.
Sager needs to get rid of it right there. You saw him get that little bit of hesitation before Stump got around him with a little bit of help, and a pretty good job by the senior McGuire to not turn the ball over right there, because, yeah, it's a negative play for USD, but it's not a turnover. So, I mean, that's huge for the Coyotes not to give the Bison the ball right there.
Bergner. Another nice high, deep punt.
Gorgeous punt.
Driving Perkins back to his own 27. Perkins, slippery in there, and finally just drilled at the 35-yard line. Another big hit on special teams for the South Dakota team, South Dakota defense.
That's Lambert, yep.
Media timeout.
5:15 to go here in the first quarter. North Dakota State still leads 7-0. We'll be back with more action from the Fargo Dome after this. An early candidate, an early nominee for our American Family Insurance hit of the game there by Taylor Lambert. We'll have that coming up for you in the 4th quarter. Inside handoff, Morlock stays on his feet, eventually dragged down by Jet Moreland, but he's got 8 yards up to the 42.
Boy, this is a nice physical run right up the middle. So obviously Chase is answering the question that a lot of people have. How are you feeling? I think right here you'll see it. Jedry Sear with a little block, a nice cut off to his left. Awesome job again up front. Kelly with a nice block, 54, and then a physical finish to get that 8 yards from the running back from Moorhead.
And Chase Morlock, Chris Kleiman saying earlier in the week, if we need to sit him, we need to sit him, but we need to get Chase Morlock back healthy because he's too important of a weapon for us to not have out there.
And Coach Polasek just basically said we're getting closer to where we can start building some stuff around him again. So yes, he is feeling healthy.
Boy, there's another nice run and another big crease up the middle. Up to the 48, Morlock again has a 1st down.
You know, Chase is listed as a running back, but anyone who's been paying attention to the Bison this year know that he's a running back, tailback in this position. He's been a fullback. He's been a flanker. He's been a tight end, and he has also been an H-back kind of a thing before, and he's caught passes. So he is so important to the diversity of what the Bison want to do on the offense when he is healthy.
Actually leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 4. Play action this time for Wentz. Looking deep, going deep, has a receiver, and it is knocked away at the last second. Good job defensively by the defensive back there for South Dakota, Chris Tyler. Zach Fra, the intended target.
Well, that ball was thrown a long way in the air. Look at where Fra took off. He's from the 52. Wentz is back behind the 40, and the ball will land almost at the goal line. So that ball hung in the air for about 60 yards, and then it's just a 50-50 ball. And Vrah didn't even get a chance to get his hand on it. Really nice job to knock it away, stay with it. He was in pretty good position, he meaning Tyler.
Darius Anderson getting his first carry of the day, and he squirts through a hole. He's gang tackled as he gets inside South Dakota territory down to the 44.
Well, the Coyotes, as was talked about, especially during the pregame show, went from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3. Part of that reason was to try and be much better against the ground game because they just gave up yards in chunks last year. Was it 243 yards or 245, something like that, yards rushing given up. So far this year, it's down to about 150, but the Bison offensive line right now is clearly showing a superiority in physical nature, just beating up that D-line pretty good.
Fry motions to the near side. Wentz will throw, and he's got Zach Fry. Perfectly placed football at the 37-yard line. Tackle made on the play by Will Armstead, but enough for a first down.
Basically, you're just flooding the zone with 3 different receivers. This case, it was about 3 short little verticals, and Wentz can just pick whatever he wants.
Here's your trivia question brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council. 1 acre of soybeans produces how many crayons?
What color are the crayons?
Well, I think it's all colors.
Oh,
Let's see.
are you sure?
I'm fairly certain. We'll have the answer for you coming up here in a little bit. Wentz to throw again. More time. Stepping up. Looking deep. Going to the end zone for Shepard. Touchdown, Bison.
Wentz loves the pass plays with multiple verticals. And here you'll see, well, no, we're going to see the isolation on the kid who had the 3 catches last week, and 2 of them ended up in the end zone. He really does a nice job, again, of committing to the ball. He will fight for it. He is a competitor. He wants that football. But Wentz, prior to that pass, really influenced the safety, did a nice job of moving that safety off to the near side to help open up the deep post.
Jacob Warner on the coverage there for South Dakota. Boy, Darius Shepard continues to make plays in the passing game. Already his 4th touchdown catch of the season. Peterson on to add the extra point. He's able to do it. And Carson Wentz to Darius Shepard. 37-yard touchdown pass for a 14-0 lead here with 2.5 to go in the first.
Well, maybe Shepard in the wide receiver group. Here's what I'm talking about, how he's looking off. Nobody in his face. He's able to step up and lay it in there, but maybe the wide receiver group heard you, Brian, talking about the fact that Morlock has more touchdown catches than anyone else. They want to get that back in the wide receiver group.
Take a look at the answer to our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. 1 acre of soybeans produces how many crayons? The answer is
lots.
82,000. That's a lot of crayons.
What size are the crayons?
I think they're just one normal size, aren't they? Boy, you're asking a lot of superlatives in here, LT. I don't know.
I can't spell that, so I'm obviously not asking that.
North Dakota State, a good start after a thrilling come-from-behind victory last week here at the Fargo Dome. And the Bison will hit the road for a pair of games at Indiana State next Saturday, and then the following Saturday at Southern Illinois.
Well, the Bison offensive line has really looked good so far here today. On those running plays, they're creating some space and showing some physicality. And then, unlike last week when Wentz was hounded, so far he's had free reign and a lot of time to look downfield.
Pops. A nice high, deep kickoff. Anderson will take it at the goal line and bring it out. Anderson finds a crease. Still on his feet. Good tough running by the redshirt freshman. Eventually dragged down to the play by Matt Plank. And the Yotes will start at the 28.
Well, this is where your offense needs to give your defense, you need to help them out a little bit. And the Coyotes had the ball moving until the turnover, but this is a position where, you know, if nothing else, get to the quarter break, give your defense time to regroup a little bit because they've been pushed around.
Sager 2 of 4 for 25 yards here in the first quarter.
And he's had to use some fancy footwork too to avoid some sacks.
Boy, not much room. First carry of the day for Michael Frederick, a true freshman they really like. 90 yards rushing last week in a loss at Western Illinois. As we take a look at the Bobcats game recap, and pretty efficient. 6 plays, 66 yards, and just 2:45 on that last drive for North Dakota State.
Really nice pattern too, run. I like the way where, you know, I think it was a too high safety. The near side safety sucks over, opens up the middle of the field, and Wentz knows with the too high that's a spot he could probably get to.
Frederick getting the carry on the little jet sweep, and he is drilled right at the line of scrimmage. No gain. a host of players in on that stop, including MJ Stump, who's been very active here in the first quarter.
Well, I don't think Stump was the first man there. We'll see it here again, Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, but just trying to get turned, and Frederick could not get turned. Yeah, Stump was there. Board was also there. Tangway helping out.
Let's look at Chris Board, the sophomore safety.
So far,
Florida.
that Coyote offensive line has not really been able to get anything going.
Crowd dials it up here on 3rd and long. Sager went through the hands of his intended target and then almost intercepted on the play there by Board. Punting situation, another 3 and out for South Dakota.
What I say, hoping to try to at least get to the quarter, and I said that with what, 2:24 I think to play, and here it's what, 80 seconds later, clock is stopped, and you're giving it back to a team who you haven't been able to stop yet.
Bergner's been busy already here in the first quarter.
He's averaging almost 42 yards of holy shit.
That's a bad
one we were talking about, and just shanked it.
He got a good hop. And Perkins is going to stop it and run out of bounds with it at the 36-yard line.
Well, that thing rolled about, again, as far as it went in the air, didn't it?
Pretty close. Maybe 22 yards in the air, bounced around the 50 and got an extra 12.
A lot of people probably taking a break from chasing the
November 7th against Western Illinois, and then Missouri State to round things out in the Valley.
Yep, and then we'll take the crew on the road for a couple of games as well.
Wentz to throw again, naked boot.
Yeah,
floating one up, has Fra. Uses body well. Incomplete. No flag.
I think both.
Oh, that was actually Albers. Oh, who was that? I could.
That he's throwing to? Albers.
That was Albers. Okay, number 8, Luke Albers.
I think this is one at the tail end of this where the back judge and the side judge are kind of looking at each other a little bit. Are you going to, or are you going to? No, let's not. He was definitely there. I mean, that was, you know, Warner on the coverage, and they were fighting for the ball, but he was there a little bit early. I mean, nothing drastic, though.
Frazier hitting the backfield, and now a whole bunch of Coyotes got a hold of King Frazier. He's still able to get back to almost the line of scrimmage. We'll bring up 3rd and long.
It was the guy who had the coverage the last time who came up hard. Warner, the kid that comes in leading the Coyotes in tackles from his strong safety position, so he likes to close in a hurry when he reads run, and he did that. He took Frazier off of his intended path in a hurry.
Carson Wentz sharp here in the first quarter, 8 of 11 for 101 yards and a touchdown.
The Bison certainly taking shots. They've taken a lot of shots downfield, and they'll talk about it here at the quarter break.
So that will do it for quarter number 1. Bison lead at 14-0. They'll have a 3rd and long coming up
The end of the first quarter.
when we come back. But so far the home team dominating on both sides of the football. See what they can do here against Joe Glenn's Coyotes on 3rd and long when we come back. Let's take a look now at our new seed fan cam. Tailgating a little bit chilly today, 27 degrees last night in Fargo.
Again, no wind.
Yeah, we'll take no wind. Big Daddy Cool hanging out there. Always good for us. Wentz hanging in there, fires. And this one is almost intercepted. Nice play on the football there by Lilly.
And Lilly could not get both hands on it, but Wentz had to move his feet quite a bit in order to try to get that pass off. So he wasn't pressured to the fact that to the extent where he was going to get knocked down, but he certainly wasn't comfortable back there at all. So that's probably the best job that the Coyotes have done, I think, in a passing situation in the NDSU backfield so far today.
So Ben LeCompte will punt. His second attempt of the day. And boy, the Yotes coming after it. LeCompte, pretty good punt. Drives back the returner all the way to his own 12-yard line. And boy, he's going to be hit and dropped on the play. Paul Anderson, not a whole lot of room to roam. And South Dakota will be backed up once again. Nice play by Chris Board.
Board was able to make that tackle because the gunners, Allison on our side, the near side, I didn't see who was on the far side. But yeah, Anderson just looked up and went, okay, nothing left, nothing right. I hope this doesn't hurt too bad. He didn't have anywhere to go. But part of that reason, obviously, was because, as you talked, Brian, the Coyotes came after it. That was, they committed everyone to try to block that thing.
55-yard punt by LeCompte. Inside handoff and a lot of room that time for Bama. Trevor Bama's got 9 yards to the 23. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, and boy, things really opened up, LT.
Did you see, as the snap was coming back, how Sager's eyes just twitched over? He moved his head real quick to his right. He was looking at his pre-read. He wanted to see that guy as quick as he could on that read option. He saw what he made a quick look, liked what he saw, figured the handoff would be there.
This time Sager will keep it. Dives ahead, going to be close to the marker.
I think he's short.
He kind of dove to the turf as Nick DeLuca approached.
Boy, DeLuca has played so well. He's been solid so far this year. Closes down, closes off. He's a little less than maybe a yard short. Nick, the junior out of Omaha. And in terms of the recruiting wars, those are kids like the Bison are getting from what you would maybe consider USD's area, like DeLuca.
Sager will run, all sorts of room, and Sager off to the races. Ryan Sager inside Bison territory, finally pushed down by Trey Dempsey at the 40-yard line. Best offensive play by far for USD.
And he's trying to get 1 yard, and the Bison give him a bunch more. Boy, great job of just getting, as you looked at it on the replay, to get the Bison really going to the right. Nobody left there to fill. Sager gets into the heart of the secondary early and in the Bison territory for the first time.
South Dakota right back to work. Sager throws complete. Shuford squirts free, and Shuford now down to the 24-yard line. And South Dakota, in just a couple of plays, has completely flipped the field.
Shuford on an isolation out there. You see the pass just goes past a Bison player, try to jump up, knock it down. You gamble a little bit by the corner. You gamble, you lose it. Safety has to make the tackle. You're down to the 20.
South Dakota at the 20 in the Superior Inc. red zone for the first time today. Sager will run again. Sager, not as much room this time, still able to get close to 4.
But you know, Brian, after you look at especially last week, and I know that Sager's not Bailey and he doesn't have that speed, but sometime if you're USD, why would you not try a little bit of quarterback run? Because it has been an issue at times with NDSU defensively.
Certainly was last week. Bama gets the carry this time. He is right at the marker. Should have enough for a first down. Dragged down by Pierre G. Tucker and Nick DeLuca. South Dakota in rhythm here, LT.
That's a couple of times that the right side of the offensive line has been able to just take that end and then close him off, take away. The end is trying to keep you from going outside. Well, they're pinching him and pinning him inside, so Bama has an easy route to where he wants to take that ball.
So first and goal for USD at the Bison 10. Bama following his lead blocker and then wrestled to the turf by Nick DeLuca, making another tackle. Gain of 3.
This one on the left side, you got a fullback lead who does a decent job, but boy, DeLuca, this picture-perfect technique. He's able to scrub down the line, keep his legs free, keep squared to the play, and get into the running back before he could get upfield very far.
Now the true freshman Michael Frederick in at tailback. Play action. Sager will roll. Fires to the end zone and out of bounds. His intended target on the play is tight end Josh Hale.
The Coyotes flooding the zone with one guy deep. That's your tight end. Another one a little bit shallower, and then a drag, hoping a deep drag from the left side would open up. Sager's head. See Sager look back to the middle of the field. He was looking for the drag in the end zone. It wasn't there, and by the time he pulled the trigger, his receiver ran out of space.
South Dakota making some late substitutions here as the play clock is now down to 10.
Coyote, they'll have time.
Sager wants it snapped. One on the play clock. Fade pattern to the corner of the end zone, and this one is caught for a USD touchdown. And it's the tight end, wide receiver Van Ruckel that makes the catch, working on the redshirt freshman Jalen Allison.
Well, you know that was one of the possibilities in the playbook because Van Ruckel, he's a sophomore, but he's 6'4". He's one of the taller receivers that the Coyotes have, and they put him outside in an isolation situation, send it up there, throw it a little bit to the back shoulder type of throw. And the Coyotes have easily their best offensive drive. This thing started deep in their own territory, and a couple of big plays, especially the quarterback run, helped get USD in a position to make that touchdown throw.
That was a big drive there for South Dakota.
It was huge because the Coyotes hadn't shown much life on offense until then.
Bergner adds the extra point, and with 10:38 to go, South Dakota has cut the lead in half as Sager finds Van Ruckel for the touchdown. Dakota Sports Network, and it is brought to you in high definition by Speak Volumes, reminding you that one drink isn't always just one drink. Head to speakvolumes.nd.gov for more information. South Dakota, an impressive drive. Really, the catalyst of that drive, LT, was that Sager run.
Absolutely. Got the ball all the way into the Bison territory. Kind of looking forward to this kickoff because this kid's got a strong leg. It's about as deep as the Bison have seen this year, isn't it?
Pretty close. And Bruce Anderson will take it in. The Bison will have it at the 25-yard line. Take a look at our Bobcats game recap. 9 plays, 86 yards in just over 4 minutes. And of course, the long run on 3rd and short for close to 40 yards there by Sager. Got things rolling.
Yeah, no doubt that was the key play of that drive. It's kind of what USD needed, didn't they? They needed to show NDSU that, hey, we're still in this game. We're here. I know it's still the first half, but here we are now, and we're back to a 7-pointer.
Stretch hand out there to Bruce Anderson, and Bruce stays on his feet. Picks up close to 6. John Wessel, one of the linebackers, came in for the tackle along with a bunch of other Coyote defenders.
Sear, number 30, cuts his man down, and that's the reason really that Anderson was able to get what he did, the lead block. Jedry Sears, we've talked at times, I mean, he probably doesn't get enough credit for what he does for the offense, that lead blocker. Not in there on this particular play, but put it up in 2nd and short.
Cutback run there for Frazier. Nice job by Van Ginkel. Maintaining leverage, limiting that carry to just 2 yards as Zach Vrah gets up a little bit slow.
Vrah trying to make a downfield block. He's coming straight to the sideline, and Nate Moody's going in to replace him.
Vrah, the 6-year senior, as we take a look here.
Here's an ISO. Vrah locked up. Also Vrah holding, and then he gets rolled on the backside. Kelly with the block got into the safety. And Vrah didn't even see it, didn't know it was coming.
Wentz might run for it. He got close, needed the 35, and I think he just got the 35 to keep the chains moving.
Bootleg on a flood pattern, 3 different routes, one deep, one middle, one short. USD had all of those covered up pretty well, and then actually, because he was being chased so hard, it didn't appear like Wentz really was able to get himself set to try to trigger that, throw that ball if he wanted to. But he did finish the run strong enough to get the first down.
In the slot in this play, you see Dimitri Williams has not played the last 2 games, the true freshman, due to an ankle problem. Inside handoff, more good movement up front by the Bison offensive line, and Chase Morlock has 4 more yards.
Kean Loggy coming in on the tackle, and he did a pretty good job because he had a Bison player all over him. He wears number 33. He has over 200 career tackles in what is now his 32nd start. Loggy's one of those guys that just seems like he's been around forever, doesn't it? He's played a lot of plays there with that red helmet on.
Bruce Anderson gets the carry. Again, South Dakota right there on the stop again. For South Dakota was Jet Moreland. Another 3rd and short coming up here for NDSU.
Well, the Bison, I think Brian had a notion coming in that they'd use what we were shift trade motion, just a kind of a generic way of saying we're going to move a lot of guys to try and get the linebackers, especially from USD, to try to make some pre-snap movement, pre-snap read. There you saw the tight end flip sides, but not quite as much, I think, as I thought they'd have more.
This pass a little bit low, and I don't know if Morlock came up with it or not. I thought it was incomplete.
Now the officials are going to talk about it. Boy, I thought the ball squirted out. I didn't know if he controlled it all the way to the turf, did he? If he did, it would be a first down.
It's kind of a big call here by the officials. And Bison want to go quick.
You're going to spot it and
Probably
probably look at it.
A completed pass for a first down, North Dakota State.
They might review this. We'll see if they have.
It's up to the guys upstairs.
Yep.
Big personnel change here for the Bison, as it is called the first down. 4 different players come in and out.
Take a look here.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. I don't think that's a catch.
That's not a catch.
Well, NDSU got away with one because this one's going to get snapped, I think, here pretty quick. Nope. If Wentz would have went on a short count, they'd have been able to get away with it.
Ruling on the field was a completed pass for a first down. That play is under further review.
I think it's coming back.
They should have snapped that one quick. Is that? I think is coming back, LT. I think both of us agree that was not ever controlled. That also brings up an interesting call. Now you got about 4th and 1.5. You don't dare punt it or go for it here, do you?
I certainly would think that NDSU could pick it up, but you're only up by 7 and you're at midfield. And so far you've controlled the game with the exception of the one really nice USD drive.
Let's look at Chase Morlock.
And you have one of the best punters in the country who can pin people back. Did I just talk myself into both sides of that argument?
I think you did.
That's me. I'm really committed to neither.
Joe Glenn wondering what's going to happen with the situation here, but certainly we think this one's coming back to be 4th and a short 2.
Now the chains have already moved and all that, so as soon as the call comes, if it goes the way we think it'll go, then it's going to take a little bit while longer to get everything else kind of lined up where it was and get everything back to where we think it'll be 4th down.
Take a look at the head coaches. Joe Glenn, just 9-31 since coming back to his alma mater, hoping to turn the program around. That had some success early in the Division I era, but since then really just joining the Valley has been a real challenge for the Coyotes.
But when you say success and you show a picture of Joe Glenn, he's certainly had it throughout his 28 years as a college head coach. He's won multiple national championships at both the Division II and the then 1AA with Montana.
Went out to Wyoming. Things didn't work out there. Came back to South Dakota.
And you said his alma mater too. I mean, if there's a coach that enjoys the school he's working at more than Joe Glenn in the Valley Conference, I don't know who it is. I mean, he'll get on the piano, sing the coach's the song, the school song, and everything. Here comes the call.
After reviewing the play, player did not maintain possession while going to the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and 4 yards on the 44-yard line. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 7 minutes and 10 seconds. 7:10.
Yeah, 4th and 4, so that's definitely a punt.
I don't think it's quite 4. I think it's closer to 2.
Well, it is. He said 4, but you're right. When he gets back to where it needs to be.
Thank you.
Ball on the 43. Yeah, it's about 2.
Beth Houle reporting from the sideline that Zach Vra does have an ankle injury. Unsure about his return at this point.
Fisher, the snapper, he's done a great job this year, hasn't he? He's been spot on. How many preseason All-American snappers are there? But number 51, Fisher, he's the type of kid who he hopes that we never say much about him, because that usually means he made a mistake. He has a job that you take for granted until it goes wrong.
And he's, the Bison have been pretty lucky in that department over the years.
Good ones.
They've had really good long snappers. No issues in that department. Popped. Anderson calling for the fair catch at the 19-yard line, and that's where the Coyotes will have it, trailing by 7. 7:03 to go here in the second quarter. USD hanging on, trailing by just 7. Stay tuned for our halftime stats, brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. Sager jump pass, boy, that was beautifully designed, and Bauma's in the clear. Trevor Bauma is still going inside the 20, dragged down at the 7-yard line. USD, another huge play from the line of scrimmage.
It's almost like the Coyotes caught the Bison just not ready for the snap. And then, of course, the success on that of the quarterback run on the last drive helps set this up. Just a little pop pass, a little jump pass, and then Bauma's off to the races. Inside the 10 again.
USD going quick. Sager hands it off to Bauma. He is down to the 1 and taken down there. Boy, South Dakota has come roaring back here in the second quarter.
Well, what was the thing that hurt the NDSU defense last week? Well, it was certainly big plays. And here's the handoff again to Bauma. He's trying to back his way into the end zone. He doesn't have give up in him, and he's half a yard short.
Sager will try to sneak it in, and I think he darted across to tie the game.
He's in, definitely.
Touchdown, South Dakota. And how about the Coyotes?
PAT away from tying this ball game.
Just 3 plays. And as you mentioned, LT, it's been the big plays that have hurt North Dakota State this year. In particular, the last 6 quarters.
Boy, in the first quarter, I mean, Bison looked like they had this game in control, and then USD. But you go back to the catch, no catch. It's not a catch. That drive appeared like it was going to end up in points somewhere. It doesn't. Bison have to punt. Coyotes take advantage. Big play. We're tied.
And Bergner adds the extra point, and we are tied up. 6:01 to go. South Dakota not going anywhere. We have a tie ball game.
Media timeout.
Bring your attention to the video board. It's time for the Tailgaters Tailgater of the Game. Each game, one lucky Bison tailgater
he making up for it here with a 73-yard reception.
And he was somewhat questionable coming into today because he was a hurting unit after bashing his arm against the face mask, the same arm that he broke, and one of the reasons he missed. He's got a plate in that arm. But boy, that was a well-designed play. We got the isolation shot of Bama. He's from Lamar's, Iowa. Oh, not far from Vermillion, the junior. And he's loving that. That was a huge play, well designed and extremely well executed. The Bison had no clue that that play was coming.
Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Bruce Anderson at his own goal line. Will bring it out. Step through a tackle, and Anderson still on his feet. Out to the 27-yard line. Finally dragged down on the play by Drew Potter.
Fullback playing special teams.
So we'll see what the Bison offense can do to respond here with 5:54 to go until halftime.
Take a look at the replay as Anderson has to make an adjustment to his right and then gets back right inside that wall. Real nice juke there at about the 20 to get 8 extra yards.
Kayvon Hawkins in on this play. We have not seen Kayvon Hawkins yet this season on the high side of the screen. Anderson, the motion man. Inside handoff, Morlock almost broke away. Nice job on the tackle there by Kian Lagi and John Wessel. Gain of 7.
Solid job up front once again for NDSU. Really good push right up the gut.
Again, Carson Wentz telling the official, you got to spot the ball in a different spot. That's happened twice here in the first half.
Well, Zemer's going to where he needs to be, and the ball's not there.
Bonnet, the motion man. Handoff again goes to Frazier, and Frazier darts ahead for 2 yards. Will bring up 3rd and short.
Van Ginkel made a pretty good read right off the bat. He saw that it was going to be a power play up the gut, and he took off from his defensive end position and got an arm out there, slowed down the running back just enough to keep him a yard short. He's a very active defensive end.
Boy, the crowd here at the Fargo Dome a little bit stunned by the
they probably
progression
should be.
of events.
To be honest, they probably should be.
Ground game again. Morlock has enough up to the 41 to move the chains.
Well, Joe Haig with a beauty. He'll get credit for a pancake on that. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay coming. Number 59 blows his guy right off the right side of your screen. Running back follows it back to pick up your first down. Joe Haig is getting NFL looks.
Ilias will motion to the bottom of your screen. Caught a touchdown pass last week against Northern Iowa. Wentz to Ilias. Up to midfield, close to another first down, maybe a yard short.
Well, Ilias and Bonnet, kind of the two guys on the boundary side, the short side of the field, that were the safety valves, if you will. Wentz took a quick look off to his left, didn't like the coverage, came right back to, he had 2 tight ends on the near side.
2nd and short, you're thinking maybe the Bison will take a shot here, LT.
Yes.
5 receivers, empty backfield here on 2nd and 1.
Quarterback run has also been an option out of this formation quite a bit this year.
Wentz will throw across the middle. Darius Anderson, the senior from Hawaii, inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line. Lagi makes the tackle.
Well, you talk about hanging in there to the last second to allow the pass pattern to develop. That's exactly what Wentz did on that particular play. He had a man right hanging on his waist when he was delivering this ball. We'll see it. There's a pretty good push. Anderson comes across the face of the linebacker, gets in front, and then breaks a couple of tackles to get the Bison inside the 30.
3 minutes to go here in the first half. Anderson gets 4 yards to the 24.
I mean, you'll take 4 yards, I guess, on first down, but that play at first snap, to me, appeared like it was going to be a little bit bigger than it was, but Anderson never got an opportunity to find a little bit of hole. I think he was trying to hope that the middle of the field would open up, and it didn't.
Anderson's role has really been expanding the last couple of weeks, getting more opportunities to get the hands on the football.
Well, Lance Dunn can't play, so someone else does, and that's Anderson's job, and he's taking advantage of it.
Anderson again just got tripped up.
I think he might have stepped on the heel or the foot of maybe one of his offensive linemen. Otherwise, that could have been a big play on the power up the middle.
So 3rd and 3 coming up. Take a look at the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, and yeah, that might have been Zach Johnson he stepped on.
He was looking and trying to get a feel off to his left, kind of the play before, but there was a different blocking scheme on this particular play than it was the inside zone the play before. That was a true power look, I thought.
Bison 3 of 6 on 3rd down today. Urzendowski, the motion man. Frazier still keeps the legs moving. Strong, tough running for King Frazier, and he's got a 1st down to the 13. Offensive coordinator Tim Polasek saying Frazier may have had his best week of practice ever since wearing a Bison uniform.
Nothing easy there. He had to jump in the hole, get momentum going again, and then he ran through and carried a couple of guys. Really nice job right there in the backfield. And then to run through 2 different arm tackles to pick up that 1st down. King Frazier.
Frazier on the sidelines here for 1st and 10 from the 13. Play action. Bruce Anderson, the intended target. Covered up on the play by Jim Latrenta.
Similar play to the success that Morlock had earlier this year on that coming out of the backfield. I actually thought Wentz was going to go to the high side because the free safety kind of bounced out of there and made it more of a one-on-one. I thought Wentz was going to look to where basically Nate Moody is on the top of the screen right now on that previous play.
Exactly 1 minute here left in the 1st half. Morlock, another power play. Still pushing the pile forward up to about the 6-yard line.
Coach Kleiman will use his 1st timeout. That's why you said a minute. You think that you're running out of time, but when you have your full complement of timeouts,
First timeout, North Dakota State.
That minute can be extended quite a bit.
A 30-second timeout.
This is just big boys pushing against each other. Van Ginkel trying to rip the ball out of there. You see Wessel has a hold of him, and then here comes Plankers, or not Plankers, the Leckler, kind of helping push that pile forward, get another 3 yards out of it.
So 3rd and about 4 coming up here for the Bison. Chris Kleiman. Pretty remarkable start to his head coaching career here at North Dakota State. 20 and 2. Not too bad.
About the same record as Carson Wentz has.
That's true. Helps to have a guy like that as your quarterback. Yeah. There's no question.
No matter which record you want to pin on either the player or the coach, it's pretty darn impressive. The two, UNI and Montana, those were the 2 losses, right? If I remember right.
That's correct. Carson Wentz, 10 of 16 for 132 yards and a touchdown here in the 1st half.
Yep, the UNI game was last year here. No, last year there. They broke the consecutive win streak.
The Bison have won 26 straight games here at home. Wentz to throw across the middle. It is caught. Andrew Bunnett, touchdown.
Sweet route, Brian. Double move. Bonnet on the right side. Looked like he was going to try to take his route and take his man into the deep right corner. Then he busts back, I think, across the face of the defender, got the inside position, and Wentz was able to zip it right in there. Very nice route.
NDSU will have the ball first coming out of the locker room at halftime. Peterson on to add the extra point.
As important, I think, USD's first touchdown was to where they were in the context of this game, I think you can say the same thing about that touchdown right there for NDSU.
Now the Bison letting a 14-point lead get away, have taken a 7-point lead back here on the catch by Bonnet.
Bonnet ran right through the screen, and you saw him planted that right foot, got inside the defender, and Wentz put that ball low and inside, got the inside part of the plate, and his guy went. That's certainly the way penalties work in this game. Sometimes you derail yourself.
Total yardage almost even. NDSU 238, South Dakota 233. Sager to throw, quick drop, screen, open. It's the true freshman making the catch and staying on his feet. Nice gain of close to 17 yards for Michael Frederick. And USD will go quick again.
Okay, the Coyotes have found their swagger on offense. Frederick, you can see him. He's like, come on, let's go. And if it wasn't for the hustle of Menard behind, trailing that play and staying hustle with it, he might have picked up the first down. The Coyotes playing with some confidence on offense right now. Oops. It was a penalty.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Michael Bianchi. So 2nd and 8 coming up.
No doubt about that. The left tackle.
With the penalty, it's 2nd and 8 for the Coyotes.
Under 10 to go here in the third quarter. Fargo Dome crowd trying to give this defense some life. Sager downfield, floats it up, and it's intercepted. Robbie Grimsley, the true freshman.
There's a late flag. I think it's going to go against the Coyotes, maybe on the tackle or right around the tackle, but they were trying to get Van Rukel on a deep drag, a late drag, and you try to take advantage of the safety. There you're seeing Grimsley backing into coverage, reading the quarterback, and closing down on the ball.
After the interception and after the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 96 of the intercepting team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Greg Menard called for the personal foul after the play.
Correction, it's a 15-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty.
So the Bison backed up to their own 20, but they will have the football. That is the first career interception for the true freshman Robbie Grimsley, the Minnesota Mr. Football in 2014 from Hutchinson, Minnesota.
There's oh yeah, he came in and just jammed the guy from behind. That was McGuire. He hit, Menard hit from behind after the interception, and the tackle was made.
So nice. The defense comes up with the turnover. Back to the ground game. Frazier squirts through a small crease, gets 5 yards to the 25.
The bread and butter play for the Bison. They call it power. Pull the guard to try to lead up in that center on the A gap on the other side, or the B.
NDSU just 91 rushing yards so far today.
Oh, and you just mentioned a little bit ago about the total yards here in the third quarter. I didn't think that would be the case today, so.
This one in the air and dangerous pass. Right there was Ryan Hillier, had a beat on it, falls incomplete, third down.
That ball just looked weird in the air, didn't it?
I don't know if it was batted maybe?
I don't know if it got tipped or seemed like it lost the rotation a little bit on Wentz's intended target. So now Bison with a third down.
And the crowd a little bit uneasy here at the Fargo Dome. You can sense it. Four receivers, single back.
Last time Wentz, it was an empty, so now he has a little help.
Wentz fires on the out, right on target. Finding the 6-year senior Zach Croft for a first down to the 37.
A little bit of a change there in the blocking protection because Raw got hit so hard the last time. King Frazier stays in, nobody to block, and then the good pitch and catch out here to Raw. I don't know if anyone throws it to the sideline as well as Wentz does.
Wentz time again. This one batted away. Nice job by the big 6'6" defensive tackle Drew Iddings.
Well, if you're trying to knock down a pass from a 6'6" quarterback, it certainly helps to be the same height yourself.
Yeah, I've been told Robbie Grimsley on the sideline is holding his leg. He may have somewhat of a leg injury or ailment. We'll try to find out more, but keep an eye on him as he's limping around a little bit down there.
Well, he was twisted a little bit. You kind of saw how Shuford had him and was twisting him down, and then the pile hit, and then Menard hit another big offensive alignment on top of that pile or crossed it.
Wentz keeps not much room. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. John Mogg got in there along with Iddings and Van Ginkel to make the stop. 3rd and long coming up.
I'm going to add one more name, Merklich as well. He was in on that particular tackle, so there's 3 or 4 coyotes right there. So Wentz trying to make that read on the fake on the jet. Nothing going.
So here comes Wentz on 3rd and 10. Protection breaking down. He'll squirt out. Fires downfield. Has a receiver, but is out of bounds. He had Jeff Ilias, his tight end, but not quite enough room to squeeze down a foot on the sideline, and the Bison will have to punt again.
Well, improvising after that particular initial rush. Once again, USD doing a decent job on the defensive line. Wentz spins away from it. With a single high safety, you see the safety coming in a little bit late on the play, but that's the position that was open. Wentz had the right read, just couldn't get to the ball in the field of play to where Ilias was.
So Ben LeCompte on for another punt here in the 3rd quarter. This one kind of a low liner for
Returnable.
Anderson at the 19. Anderson dangerous in the return game. Gets up to the 34-yard line. Jalen Allison in on that stop along with Chris Board. Look at Carson Wentz, who looks a little bit frustrated here after the first 2 Bison drives.
Immediate timeout.
21-14 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. The Bison faithful, not a lot to cheer about here in the 3rd quarter.
Has the game changed?
The student body going to try to bring some noise here as South Dakota takes the field. Sager, play action, has time again. Flag comes in. He comes 2 flags, and Sager taken down for a gain of 1. But again, it looks like another hold coming as Nate Tangway was grabbed. See if Chris Kleiman decides to back him up. I think they will.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Beth Hool on the sidelines today has a PetroServe USA Bison sideline report. Beth.
Hey guys, Robbie Grimsley, after his interception, rubbing his upper hip and thigh on his right side, hit the bike, is obviously back out on the field right now, playing through the pain as though you can still see a little bit of a limp though, something to keep an eye on.
Thank you, Beth. And Grimsley has been getting more reps each week, especially in passing situations. You'll see him out there much more than Chris Board. Handoff goes to Bama. Bama, some tough running inside. Gets back 3 yards up to the 26. Jordan Champion in on the tackle.
Yeah, Dempsey crashed hard from his safety position, but he missed him right away. That allowed just a couple extra yards before Champion was there. But that's the thing that I saw more than anything was just how number 3 came flying up in there. He read run and he closed hard.
2nd and 17. 3 receivers. Shuford has been the go-to guy for Sager. Again, he's only completed 8 passes. Shuford has 4 of them. This quick screen out to Shuford, and he drops the pass. And we'll bring up 3rd and long. Now now things get loud and a little bit more difficult here for Ryan Sager. Ryan Schatz comes off the field. NDSU will go with a 3-down lineman look, I believe, here, LT.
Yeah, and is it a nickel or a dime?
Well, you see 3 linebackers. Levi Jortheim is actually in the game as an extra linebacker. 3-man rush. Sager flushed. Has a long way to go for a first down. And he comes up just about 3 yards short at the 41.
Well, you saw Jortheim get on his horse and sprint as fast as he could to try to keep Sager away from being able to turn it up. He didn't get there very early, but he was able to do it. Sager isolated on the quarterback. We've seen him run. He's got that long 37-yarder. Jortheim hustling, kind of gets in on his ankle a little bit. He dives, tries to get up to that first down, but he was 3 yards short. Important defensive stop right there, I think, for NDSU.
Absolutely. 3 on the play clock here for Bergner. Another nice high deep punt. Fair catch signaled for inside the 10, all the way at the 7-yard line there by C.J. Smith. So the Bison backed up with 5:42 to go here in the third quarter.
Media
the
timeout.
home team clinging on to a 7-point lead. Back with more action from the Fargo Dome after this. Conversations that matter. Log on to parentslead.org for more information. Bison backed up to their own 8-yard line. Bruce Anderson, the motion man. Inside handoff is Frazier, and Frazier falls ahead to the 11 for a gain of 3, and now King Frazier, with his 7th carry, has 25 yards. USD out-rushing NDSU to this point.
How odd does that sound? Very. And only 3 yards, had the 3-yard advantage in the pass game as well, 168 to 165. The Bison with the 165.
Frazier again. Again, not a whole lot of room. South Dakota doing a pretty good job against the Bison run game. Frazier with 2 yards will set up 3rd and 5. As Ryan Hillier makes another tackle.
Hillier with the tackle, and I thought initially that NDSU did a pretty good job of trying to pin that right defensive end. They got that part of it done, but couldn't get to the second level. Second level guy is Hillier, the outside linebacker, who does a good job. He plays a lot in space. You know, Wessel and Loggy, those are the guys who are in the middle of the field. But Hillier that time closed off the gap and made it 3rd and not so easy.
Big 3rd down here for both teams. Wentz running out of time and is going to be taken down by Van Ginkel all the way back at the 9-yard line. 6th sack of the year for the redshirt freshman.
Well, again, early in this game, if you weren't with us, we said that in many respects, a lot of people around USD, Tyler Starr, a guy who had a chance in the NFL, and this is who reminds him of. Speed rush, gets around the tackle, and then gets to Wentz. He's got the long blonde hair. He's from the same part of the state of Iowa, northwest Iowa. Not very big, 230 pounds. He's going to get a lot bigger. He's probably going to put on another 25, 30 pounds.
So South Dakota a chance to get some pretty decent field position here as Ben LeCompte gets into one. Driving back Anderson to his own 37. Anderson has a crease. Anderson finally upended inside Bison territory at the 45-yard line.
Media timeout.
So South Dakota knocking on the door, trailing by just 7, 21-14 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Let's take a look at our new seed fan cam and the fan base trying to stay excited and get their team into this game emotionally. South Dakota, an opportunity here to inch even closer to the Bison.
2 tight ends to the right side of this formation.
Bama, a big hole. And Trevor Bama has a first down up to the 35.
And he was one broken tackle away from taking it all the way. Well, it's certainly, and the Coyotes are going to do the hurry up. But yeah, on this Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, you're going to see the pulling guard again, Banks, leading the way through the two tight ends on the right side. You're basically saying we're running over here, and we think we're going to be able to beat you over there, because they're not disguising anything.
Champion making the tackle after a gain of 10. Bama again, not as much room this time. He's met at the line of scrimmage and falls ahead for close to 1.
Was a similar looking setup, Brian, but blocked a little bit different with a fullback lead that time instead of the pulling guard lead. And the Bison have a player down right where that scrum was.
Injured player.
Greg Menard made the tackle. Can't quite make out the number.
It's not Menard. I think it's
might be Ambrosius.
Yeah, he used the defensive end on that side. I believe it was. Ambrosius in on the defensive end on that particular side. Well, for USD, you know, this is another thing that quiets the crowd. The crowd was trying to get a little pumped up, help the defense out. Dead silent in here again. And it's 97. That's Ambrosius.
He is up on his own power, grabbing that left shoulder. Yeah.
You would assume that means that Stanley Jones comes in.
It looks to be that way.
That's been the normal rotation. Jones, the third guy, with Menard and Ambrosius getting most of the snaps. So Jones goes in there. And that is where the success, USD's success running the ball, has been to that side of the defensive formation for NDSU, the Bison's left side.
Bama gets the carry again. Pierre G. Tucker finished him off after Brian Schatz got in there initially for a gain of 3 and a 3rd and 6 coming up.
Yeah, DeLuca kind of had him around the hips, and Bama ran out of that, trying to make that a negative play. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, similar look, but this time to the near side. There's DeLuca, and there's G. Tucker.
Big 3rd down. South Dakota 3 of 7 so far today. Sager to throw. Bison bring pressure, screen, and not there. The intended target was the tight end, Josh Hale, incomplete. This would be a 47-yard field goal. Now, Miles Bergner in the past has been pretty good from this range.
He's got a big leg.
But just 1 of 4 this season from 40+. This would get the Yotes closer, though, LT.
Well, now you're 1 score away, meaning the touchdown and PAT to tie it. Now, if you can get yourself into 1 score away from taking the win or the lead.
So Bergner from 47. Plenty of leg. It is no good. Wide left by just a hair.
Boy, I know that this is this week, but in the first thing that pops into my head was last week. What was the winning margin last week for the Bison? 3 points. What did you and I have? A missed field goal.
So NDSU maintains a 7-point lead. Bergner now just 4 of 11 on the season. He missed just 1 kick all of last year.
First and 10, North Dakota State at the 30-yard line.
So here comes Carson Wentz in the offense once again.
Brian, the Bison defense, you know, there was some movement there by the Coyotes, but they did their job. Didn't give up any points from the missed field goal. Now it's the NDSU offense turn to do its job.
Quarterback power. Wentz following blocks. 7 yards up to the 37.
Bison were hoping that Wentz wouldn't have to do a lot of this today. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. He's going to follow. Man right up the middle and pick up real good yardage up until Warner, or no, that wasn't Warner, that was Wessel, number 28, the linebacker, who made the tackle, but a 7-yard gain on that first down.
Ticking down towards 1 minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Outside handoff room. Bruce Anderson has a first down to the 44-yard line. Take a look at our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. How does USA Today utilize soybeans? Boy, I tell you what, man, they've got some stumpers in this year.
I'm going to say ink.
All right, I buy that. Maybe they use crayons for the ink. Wentz to throw. That is caught.
Bonnet made
Flag comes in.
a late flag. That's a pretty good adjustment to the ball that was in the air that was thrown low and outside.
This may go against NDSU. The South Dakota secondary thinking maybe a push-off.
Maybe that's how Bonnet separated
Pass
himself.
interference, offense, number 46, 15-yard penalty, remains first down.
So that'll really back up the Bison. Had a first down at the 44, now backed up to the 31.
What penalties have killed drives today? Here's another potential drive-killing one. We'll see how the Bison do it. It'll still be first down, but it'll be first and long.
I think they got it marked back too far. It should be the 31-yard line where the ball is spotted.
They're at the 29.
Am I wrong in saying that, LT? The line of scrimmage is the 44. I guess it should be the 29. 29-yard line. I guess I can't add. The official can. That's a good thing. Inside handoff draw to Frazier, and Frazier gets a good chunk of it back up to the 41-yard line, gain of 10. That should be the final play of the third quarter.
Well, Wentz just reading the defensive end. That's Jake Lair, number 18 on this particular play. It was a relatively easy read. You saw the defensive end flare a little bit out to the right to where the quarterback was. That's an easy give.
Well, that should do it for the end of the third quarter. And yes, it's the fourth quarter, so raise your four because it's the 4 for 4 from Petro Serve USA, where you can have their $4 pizza special, which includes 2 cookies, pizza, and a drink for just $4 every day at all 24 Petro Serve USA locations. Back with the fourth quarter after this timeout. But nothing has come easy here in quarters 2 and 3. As South Dakota has narrowed the gap to 21-14, just like it was at half. Neither team scoring in that quarter. Wentz drops it off to King Frazier, who gets to the 49, 5 yards short of a first down.
Well, I think it was Bonnet kind of running up the seam, running deep, taking the safety with him. And then Loggy, the linebacker, kind of coming over to seal off the side and then splitting the 2 linebackers for the gain. But the Bison back again. There haven't been, lately anyway, a lot of third and comfortables. This is, again, it's third and 5 or 6.
Shepard is the motion man to the bottom of your screen. Wentz will throw. Fires. Urzendowski makes the catch, cuts it up inside the 40, and Urzendowski finally taken down at the 32-yard line by Tyson Graham. The Bison pick up another big third down to move the chains.
Well, no quarterback in the country does it better. There might be some that do it as well as Wentz, that he can go from the far side, hash over here on a out pattern, just showing off that strength of the arm. Then Urzendowski does a little bit of a whip around to get back upfield, but Wentz can pull that play off. A lot of quarterbacks can't.
Wentz to throw across the middle. Open receiver is Bonnet. He hangs on after taking a big shot from Warner at the 18-yard line. Bison inside the red zone, the Superior Inc. red zone once again. I think the first time here in the first half as we take a look at the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Warner made the hit and then went straight to the sideline. He lost in that battle with the tight end and the safety. It's important for NDSU to get beyond the 1-score advantage.
And they may take a look at this.
Previous ruling on the field was completed pass, resulting in a first down. That play is under further review.
Well, from our side, we just kind of saw the back of Bonnet, but the Coyotes had the sideline, had the better look at where the ball was.
Let the officials take a look at it. We'll get our best look at it here on the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Ooh.
Do you keep the hand under it?
Again, ruled a catch on the field, so it has to be obvious to the official that is in the booth that the ball was dropped. Again, Bonnet took a pretty good shot there. Hard to see in full speed, LT. Maybe, when you slow it down, you could see better, but it's one of those things that is a big play in the football game here.
I'm going to guess that this one stands. But we have this opportunity here where the officials are looking at that, and we'll take another look at home in slow motion. See if that hand stays under the ball. I think it does. Oh, the ball's on the turf.
That ball's out. Yeah, to me, that's an incompletion.
Yep. Good replay, guys. Really nice look. But we should mention 82 passed another
Zach
record
Fra
again.
has now passed Cole Heckendorf for receiving yards. So now he has the most catches and the most receiving yards. He's still one short in the touchdown department of Tim Strelo for the most receiving touchdowns all time. There's a look at 82.
Well, I know last year there was some debate on whether Zach, because he had graduated, he was in his 5th year, he had the medical red shirt, had a chance to come back. Would he do it? I think the guy we saw right before that might have influenced his decision if you have Carson Wentz throwing it.
And Fra has done a remarkable job. Again, he's had some issues with injuries early in his career. Some were wondering if he'd ever really get on the field and make a difference. He was a Minnesota Mr. Football 6 years ago. Had a collarbone break, broke it again, has a steel plate still in there. He's been a really productive receiver.
Well, you can obviously tell by the delay that the replay booth is really looking at this one, because as you mentioned, Brian, it is going to be an important call, a call that does look like his right hand separated from that ball. And now the officials are going back to where the ball was, and they're marking where the line of scrimmage is. So I think we're going to get an incompleted pass right here.
Give credit to Jacob Warner, who came over from a safety spot to make the big hit.
After review, the receiver did not control the ball while he was on the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10 yards on the 32-yard line. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 13 minutes, 41 seconds, 13:41.
Well, if you're a Bison fan, obviously you don't like the call, but that's the reason replay exists now, to get it right, and they did.
Another look at it right here, but I think it was pretty clear that the ball came loose. Bonnet had it, ball on the ground.
Because at game speed, I thought he had that hand underneath there, but obviously you could say that the right hand with that white glove on it, you could see the separation. Now 2nd and 10.
Inside handoff, Morlock bounces off the pile and then grabbed and taken down after a gain of 1. Again, it's Van Ginkel in there making the stop. Take a look at our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question and answer. How does USA Today utilize soybeans? The answer, they use soybeans for oil-based ink.
I got it right.
See, you're doing a nice job today.
Where does the guy who owns USA Today, where did he go to college?
I have no idea. University of South Dakota.
USD.
That's a bonus trivia question.
There you go.
Another big 3rd down, 3rd and 9. Dimitri Williams in motion. Wentz to throw. Dumps it off. Morlock has a ways to go for a 1st down. He will not get there. Taken down on the play by Kian Loggy.
Yeah, Morlock had to make Loggy miss. Loggy didn't. He stayed squared, went right down to the hip, worked his way down to the legs, made a solid tackle to force a long field goal attempt.
So Cam Peterson on for a 45-yard attempt. But Peterson has not missed, and he has a long of 49 this season.
That bounced off the crossbar.
That's right.
That was textbook stuff there by Loggy on that tackle.
Peterson from 45. Will it get there? It does, but it is no good. Wide to the right. So Peterson misses the first of his career, the true freshman. And the lead remains 7 with 12:10 to go in the football game. Bison defense back out on the field when we come back. 12:10 to go. It's a 7-point game on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Sager takes off with it. for a gain of 3 to the 31. That was your new seed fan cam, by the way. I was a little caught off guard. I thought we were on camera for a second.
So did I, and I'm looking like, well, our backs are to that camera, so that can't be live. Like what the Coyotes did with Potter on that play. Started him as a wing, kind of on the right side, the normal fullback, and used him as your pulling player to get in front instead of a guard.
Bama gets the carry this time, a couple of yards, up to about the 33, so that will bring up 3rd and 5 for South Dakota. And Bama, again, not knowing what South Dakota was going to get out of him today, has done a nice job on the ground. He really has.
Well, and of course, the one little pass play that goes for 73 yards as well. But I think, all in all, USD's offensive line has done a pretty good job on the interior, meaning Tangway and Schatz or Steidel, who's ever been in that middle. We haven't had to call their name a lot for NDSU, meaning the Coyotes have done a good job inside.
Sager to throw across the middle. That is complete. On target. Robbie Grimsley makes the tackle, but Bama has a first down up to the 40.
Bison come with the blitz on that play, so all Sager has to do is stay on his feet because he knows there's not going to be anybody between the line of scrimmage and where Grimsley is. There's the blitz on the top side, wide open, no linebacker in that space. Grimsley has to make the tackle, first down.
Yotes will spread it out, 4 receivers. Bama the single setback. Bama, 4 yards up to the 44. Ticking down towards 10 minutes to go. Bison will bring wholesale substitutions in on the defensive line.
There you see Ambrosius back into the game, but he is kind of just mirroring there. He can't make a commitment because he doesn't want to. The quarterback is waiting to see what Ambrosius is going to do. He elects to give the handoff. Otherwise, if Ambrosius goes down too far, the quarterback keeps it.
Sager has time, flares it out of the backfield and hits the jet motion man. That is Shamar Jackson making the catch. Inside Bison territory, down to the 43.
When you look on the program, everybody's listed, running back, tight end, wide receiver. Number 31 right there, Jackson, is listed as ATH, athlete.
He does a little bit of everything.
He does, and he can. He's one of those young kids they really like.
3 receivers bunched up in the bottom of your screen. Bama has room on the sideline, and Bama has another nice gain. All the way down to the 35, and the Yotes are moving.
Big chunks of yard. I don't think the Coyotes have gone to a pass play against that bunch yet. They've gone away, and this time they run it to the field side, the short side, which is the high side of your screen. Hand off to Bama. Gets around the corner, and you see second level there. You saw how Stumpf had a blocker on him. Coyotes got to the second level, which is why there was 8 yards gained on the play.
Under 9 minutes to go. Bama again sniffing for that first down. He comes up about a yard short.
That time Tangway was able to get in there, get good penetration, and not allow Bama to get to the edge.
South Dakota continues to go no huddle. The true freshman, Michael Frederick, in the game here on 3rd and short.
Bama came off kind of holding his arm after that play.
Sager will keep it. He's got a first down. Up to the 32-yard line. The crowd thought they had Frederick stopped, but he didn't have the football.
They did stop him, and it didn't matter. Making the read, pulls it back out. Oh, he held it in the belly for quite a while, needed the 1 yard, and was able to get through Stumpf to get to the first down.
Under 8 minutes to go. Sager under pressure, gets out of there. Now he's going to take off with it. Inside the 30 and slides down at the 24-yard line. Gains 8.
Well, he doesn't do it with great bursts of speed, but boy, he sure has done a fine job today of getting out of a little bit of trouble and then gaining 8 yards on this play. Sager right up his face. He's nothing there. He runs away from the interior lineman, breaks 1 tackle, and now his team is quickly back up at the line. But 8 yards on first down, that's what the Coyotes have been getting here lately.
Frederick remains in the game. Sager now 80 rush yards on the day. Sager again has a first down inside the 20, down to the 19. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Boy, quarterback run once again this week. It was the key in the second half for the yardage for the Panthers last week. This week it's the Coyotes with quarterback run, and right now it's Sager.
South Dakota back in the Superior Inc. red zone once again. Looks like some confusion on both huddles. Bama back in the game. Gets the carry. Good movement again up front. Gain of 3 up to the 16.
I mean, one player on the offense, every play has to make critical decisions. That obviously is the quarterback. I don't know right off the top of my head that you can think of too many plays today that Sager hasn't made the correct read. He's been solid.
It's been a methodical drive down the field here for the Coyotes.
And when I say correct, I mean nothing glaring. He really hasn't hurt his team at all today.
Bama to the 15. A yard and a half short of a first down. Chris Board makes the tackle.
Again, second level stuff. Really good job by the left side of the offensive line along with the center. Really moved the Bison off to the left of your screen. Allowed Bauman to cut back in, and the safety has to come up and make a tackle.
Van Ruckel checks into the game along with Shufford and Meyer. So USD going with 3 receivers here on 3rd and short.
Smith on the tall guy. He's off to your left. They threw the fade to him once.
5.5 to go. Sager will keep it. And he leans ahead, and he's got enough for a first down to the 13. Bison look like they had it covered up pretty well, LT.
First and goal, but a little extra push after being hit. There you see Ambrosius is getting pushed. DeLuke is there, Stump is there, and then the quarterback keeps what little momentum he had. He gained a little bit more to get that second yard.
Ticking down towards 5 minutes left in the football game.
Press corners on each outside.
Sager is going to throw the fade. Batted away.
Tried to throw back shoulder, not a fade that time.
Van Ruckel wanted pass interference on C.J. Smith, no flag.
But you know, Smith has every right to the inside, as in this case Van Ruckel does. Did you notice that wasn't a lob into the air? It's more of a line drive, trying to back shoulder, and he never got an opportunity to even get to the back shoulder. Really nice coverage there by Smith. But they went to the tall guy again, down inside the 10.
Now the jumbo personnel coming on for South Dakota. Play action, Sager throws it out, wide open receivers, Potter! And he is in for a touchdown.
Yeah, the ball flew out, but not after he was already in control of it and across the line. Now what do? Do you go for the lead? Here comes the kicker. But if there wasn't close to 5 minutes left, I think Joe Glenn rolls the dice because his team is in the what do you have to lose category.
North Dakota State has won 26 straight home games dating back to 2012. South Dakota has not won a Missouri Valley Conference game since 2013. But here we are tied with 4:47 to go. And now we see a little bit of a switch. Shuford is in. And Kleiman wants a timeout before it was snapped, and he got it. Interesting.
Prior to the ball was snapped, charge timeout, North Dakota State. They're first of the half.
That's something you've noticed.
30-second timeout.
That has certainly changed a little, Brian. You remember coaches used to have to stay in the box. You couldn't go down inside the 20. Now you see college coaches sprinting all over the place to get their timeouts called. Kleiman was into the end zone by the time he stopped running to get that timeout call.
Boy.
There we saw Joe play his hand there. He was going for it.
Here's another look at the touchdown as Sager rolled out to his right, had just enough time to flip it out to his wide open fullback, Potter. First touchdown of the season for Drew Potter.
Well, similar to the play, if you remember back to the last game for NDSU, or 2 games ago, I guess, I think it was against UND when Jed Resear got his first touchdown. Just a play very much similar to that. You usually don't account for the lead blocker, the fullback, to become the pass catcher.
Let's just see what South Dakota does here. Now, Schufert is the normal holder.
Yeah, I think they kick it now. You tried to catch the opponent by surprise. You can't do it now after the timeout.
Bergner, plenty of leg on the extra point, boots it through, and we are tied at 21 with 4:47 to go. Don't go anywhere. We got a barn burner.
Immediate timeout.
Line Force has a PetroServe USA sideline report, Beth.
Carson Wentz addressing the team here as the offense gets ready to take the field, telling the guys we've been in this position before. We know what to do. We know what this takes. Let's go out. Let's do work.
Thank you, Beth. And not too many guys you'd rather have quarterbacking your team in this situation than Carson Wentz.
No, but how many times are you going to ask him to try to do it?
4:47 to go. We'll take another timeout and be back with the conclusion after this.
Immediate timeout.
Handoff goes to, I believe it was Bruce Anderson.
Alex Coker, who I don't know if he's had a lot of reps today from a linebacker position, closed down fast and didn't allow that to bounce at all to the outside.
So 2nd and 7 coming up.
But it looks like the Coyotes going with a little more speed on defense right now, because Wessel is out.
Williams the motion man. Wentz will keep it on the draw. Coming from behind is Van Ginkel making another play. And the Bison have a 3rd and 5 coming up.
Again, Van Ginkel's showing some pretty good quickness on his initial burst. He makes the read the same time Wentz does and kind of catches that leg from behind.
This game brought to you in high definition by Speak Volumes. Remember, when one drink isn't always one drink. Log on to speakvolumes.nd.gov for more information. Big 3rd down coming up for North Dakota State. They are 7 of 14 on 3rd down today. Shepard the motion man to the top of your screen.
In corners in press coverage.
Here comes the bring in pressure. Wentz gets rid of it. Fires incomplete, looking for Urzendowski. And South Dakota forces another Bison 3 and out.
You talk about gambling. Jason Petrino just did there. He rolled the dice and brought both safeties. Of course, you have to get pressure and you have to force the ball out of Wentz's hands quickly, which they do, because if they don't, Wentz is going to complete it for a potential big play. Urzendowski could not make a play on the ball after it was in the air. But the Coyotes, they really pressed coverage and brought both safeties.
The Comps putting this one away to Anderson. Takes the catch at the 29, taken down at the 30.
DeLuca.
But South Dakota will have a chance with 3:20 to go.
Very interesting.
Take a look at our Bobcats game recap. 15 plays, 72 yards on that last drive. Took almost 7.5 minutes for South Dakota.
Boy,
Bergner's got a huge leg, so you got to figure the 35-yard line is probably what you got to get to. And who would have thought Joe Glenn's team would be in this position?
We've gotten so used to the Bison doing that to other teams with long drives in the second half. Now the Coyotes have turned the table and they have the ball with 3:20 to go.
Sager will throw it. Complete. Schufert makes another catch. Gain of 6 up to the 35.
get into
C.J. Smith on the cover.
You get into these pressure situations and everything is just so magnified, like that tackle. It's a simple looking tackle off a simple looking play, but if Smith doesn't make it, look out.
Under 3 to go. Sager's going to keep it again. Gained about 2 yards, and a 3rd and 2 coming up at the 37-yard line.
The two linebackers, Stump and DeLuca, both combined to make a real nice play. Nothing outside. That was Stump's job. DeLuca's job was to make the tackle, which he did.
What do the Yotes do here on 3rd and 2?
Press coverage high, off coverage to the near side.
Sager's going to run with it. Sager's got it. Across the 40, all the way to the 44, and he moves the chains.
Boy, he's done a real good job on these quarterback runs of getting just what you need. This time he got about 3 more yards than what he needs. But in the second half, how many times did it be like, oh, the Coyotes need a yard, Sager got 2. Here they need 2, he gets about 5.
Coyotes taking their time. They do have all 3 timeouts. Sager under pressure, and Sager goes down, and a flag comes in.
It's going to be a 15-yarder. The helmet came off. I do not believe that Tangway grabbed the face mask, but his arm rode up and popped the helmet off. Here comes Tangway. Yeah, that's a 15-yarder.
Personal foul, grabbing the helmet opening of the opponent. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Oh, boy.
Because number 2 lost his helmet for a foul, he can remain in the game.
That moves the ball all the way inside to NDSU territory with 1:49 to go.
That'll be a first down from about the 2-yard line? 41.
The Bison defense got to find a way to come up with a stop here. The clock continuing to run. Out of formation. Bama. Room for Bama. Inside the 30, down to the 27-yard line. And South Dakota now in field goal range with 1:23 to go.
Bama still hurting. You can tell holding after this play, but right at the point of attack, that little seam opens and a great kick-out block, and Champion still bounces off of that block to make the tackle. Otherwise, Bama gains about another 10 or 12 yards.
1:13, 1:12. North Dakota State might have to think about taking their timeouts here. Frederick gets the call, and he is smacked at the line of scrimmage. Gain of close to 1. Chris Board makes the stop.
The play before this, Board came in as Grimsley came off. He was kind of limping, trying to run off the field as much as he could. We talked about how, the freshman is playing with a banged-up leg, but Board crashing hard. I don't think the Coyotes will do it, but a play action here might be a good play.
Hand off again to Frederick. Frederick stays on his feet, gets across the 25 to the 23.
And every yard that he can stumble and fight for makes that field goal that much easier.
From here, it's looking about a 39 to 40-yarder.
Charge timeout, South Dakota. They're first of the half. 30-second timeout. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 30 seconds. 3-0, 30 seconds.
Unbelievable what has transpired here at the Fargo Dome today. North Dakota State led it 14-0 in the first quarter. Looked well on their way, but South Dakota has battled. As we take a look at our stats brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. Or excuse me, stay tuned for the final stats for the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. We'll have those for you coming up after today's contest.
I tell you, and right now the Coyotes like the way those stats are looking. Offense in the second half for USD has been good.
3rd and 5. They'd have a hard time believing that USD would do anything but throw the football here. Run the ball, I'm guessing. Schufert split wide. Van Roekel to the other side.
Quarterback run.
It is Seeger running. And Seeger
Close
is
to the
right
first
at
down.
the first down. It's going to be real close. Based on the spot, I think he's got it.
Boy, Sager again with those, and his helmet came off again. This time he might have to come off the field. Replay, Sager trying to follow the guard. And he was hit again by Board. His helmet did come off on contact, so he's going to have to come out of play, I think.
Officials are talking about it. That is the backup quarterback, Brian Woodward. Just a redshirt freshman.
The initial spot is about a yard short, less than a yard.
The ruling on the field was that the runner was down, and the result of the play was a first down. The clock was stopped for a first down. Number 2's helmet also came off during the down. Because the clock was stopped for a first down, there is no 10-second runoff. South Dakota has called their second timeout, so number 2 can remain in the game. Charge timeout, South Dakota. A 30-second timeout.
So a first down, which means South Dakota can pretty much take it down to the gun and try to kick a field goal to win it.
Here comes Board coming in to make the tackle. The helmet comes off, and he did get the first down at this point. Official did a very nice job of just letting everybody know the situation and exactly how it was played out.
So from here, you're looking at about a 34-yard field goal.
Boy, Joe Glenn and the Coyotes have been looking for that important win. They've got a chance to get it today.
The Bison faithful look real concerned.
USD hasn't won a game in Fargo since September 30th, 1978. And they've got a chance today.
My mom was 8 months pregnant with me at that time. Yikes. There's a look at Bergner, who has a chance to potentially win the game with a field goal.
I did like the last call, though. I mean, the call that got the first down. You direct snap it to your quarterback. You don't hand it off. There's no chance for an exchange.
Frederick stacked up at about the 16-yard line. Joe Glenn content to run this thing down to maybe 4 seconds and try to win the game in Fargo with a field goal. Bergner, 4 of 11 this season, but last year only missed 1 kick. Has been reliable in the
First
past.
timeout, South Dakota. Their 3rd and final timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length.
What a drive here for South Dakota. And again, it was helped by the personal foul. They had Sager dropped way back at the 35-yard line for a loss of 8.
And you give them 15 with the penalty. That put it into NDSU territory, and most important was the first down at that point. Well, the Coyote offense has owned the second half. Easy. The job that I think that the Coyotes have done on first down has been probably the most impressive thing in my mind to this point in the game. Obviously, they just, when they were churning out those yards, there were 7-8 yards on first down.
Trevor Bauma, 20 carries, 94 yards. Ryan Sager, the quarterback, 16 carries, 92 yards. So it all comes down to this for Bergner.
33-yarder.
Schufert is the holder. Bergner to win it for South Dakota. Timeout called by Chris Kleiman.
Charge timeout, North Dakota State. Their second of the half, 30 seconds in length.
Now Kleiman can decide if he wants to do it for one last time or not.
Bergner earlier today just missed a hair to the left. A junior from Longmont, Colorado.
And from the left hash as well, so if he pulls it at all, that means it'll be a miss.
So here we go. For their first win in Fargo in 47 years. It is up, and it is good! And South Dakota has shocked North Dakota State.
What a nice drive to put themselves in a position to get that win. You know, coming in, I thought Ryan Sager, from what we've seen throughout the course of so far this year, third starting quarterback in the last 3 years, I thought Sager was on his best day average. Wrong. Sager proved me wrong because he had an excellent day. And he was superior to average.
Beth is standing by with Chris Kleiman.
Hey, Coach, 24-21 down to the wire there. What was the difference today?
Well, we got beat by a better football team, and we got to go back to work on Monday. This league's a bear, and we've got to find a way to get ready and regroup on Monday. But give South Dakota credit.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Guys?
All right, thank you so much, Beth. Unbelievable. 24-21 the final. South Dakota snaps a 14-game losing streak in the Missouri Valley. North Dakota State's first home loss in 27 games. And Joe Glenn and the boys are fired up, and they should be. We'll be back after this at the Fargo Dome. 24-21 the final on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. The South Dakota fans, the couple hundred that made it, are fired up and glad to be here for this one today. Our American Family Insurance hit of the game, Chris Heisey Agency, goes to King Frazier, who laid the wood on the safety, Jacob Warder, there on that run. That is your American Family Insurance Chris Heisey Agency hit of the game.
Yeah, Frazier able to finish that run, but the Bison today unable to finish the game. That was the Coyotes that picked up the game-winning field goal.
NDSU limited to 125 total yards as we take a look at our final stats, brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. And when you look at the stats, LT, this wasn't a fluke. I mean,
no.
South Dakota, they beat NDSU today, flat out.
It's surprising, but yes, not a fluke by what we just saw. More passing yards, more rushing yards, and almost 400 yards the Bison defense gave up to go along. And time of possession, remember we talked about how important that's been for NDSU all year long, time of possession. Well, in that second half, the Coyotes owned it. And you mentioned it a couple of times too. You got to remember the Bison up 14-0, and then USD got some momentum. Quarterback had a couple of big plays. That nice little play from Bama that went 73 yards. And in the second half, Coyotes owned it. Stat report, the numbers do not lie. And the biggest number, the one on top there, was 24-21.
Brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. LT and I will be back to wrap things up after this timeout and have our NODAG Mutual Insurance player of the game. Stay tuned. And get over quickly. They got to hit the road for a pair of games starting next weekend. NDSU taking on Indiana State, the Sycamores, in a battle with Southern Illinois today. And we just want to remind you that game will be seen on ESPN3 only. That is a Missouri Valley TV broadcast and can only be carried by ESPN3. So please tune in there to find it next week. We will have a Farmers Union Insurance pregame show coming up just before that kick. So tune in an hour before that game kicks off next week as we take a look at the rest of the schedule.
But then, of course, they will have the other 4 games for the rest of the regular season. The 2 of those games on the road. Our next telecast on NBC North Dakota Sports will be the Southern Illinois game, then Western Missouri State with another trip to Youngstown. So you just keep in mind, next week, not here. The rest of it
are
here.
Yep. And LT and I will be there for the rest of the games as well, both home and on the road, as we take a look at our NODAG Mutual Insurance player of the game, and it goes to Bruce Anderson. Number 42, 9 carries, 34 yards. He did score his first career touchdown today.
And that probably more than anything else is a reason to do it, because obviously the Bison didn't have a lot of players of this game, to be brutally honest. And I think Coach Kleiman would probably the same thing. But that play right there, it's something that young man's never going to forget. His teammates helped him get into the end zone for the very first time.
So congratulations to Bruce Anderson, the true freshman from down in Florida. LT, you're North Dakota State. How do you recover from this and get it done in a hurry? Because you got 2 important road games now at Indiana State and Southern Illinois the next 2 weeks.
Well, as Coach Kleiman said, you go back to work and you start maybe scratching your head, because obviously the offenses for last week and this week have found a way with that read option quarterback run thing. They found something against NDSU that they really like, and it was effective last week in the second half. Bailey with those long runs. Today with Sager, he was able to kind of pick them apart. So I don't know what you do. I don't know that there's anybody else you put into a new position. You just look at it and try something maybe to tweak it a little bit different. But it's a tough thing to defend, and the main reason that there's so many colleges across the country that run it, because it is tough to defend.
Well, North Dakota State still 4-2, 2-1 in league. A lot of their goals still in front of them, but they do have some work to do here coming up the next couple of weeks against a couple of tough opponents that have a lot to prove themselves.
I will say that Did I think NDSU was going to go through the conference undefeated? No. Did I think it was going to happen today? No. You take your hat and you tip it to the Coyotes, because they outplayed the Bison.
They definitely did. So South Dakota picks up their first Missouri Valley win since 2013, and North Dakota State has their 26th home game winning streak snapped here this afternoon. Thanks for tuning in and joining us for this broadcast of Bison football here on NBC North Dakota Sports and on KBLY in the Valley. For Lee Timmerman, Beth Houle, our entire NBC North Dakota sports crew, I'm Brian Shawn saying so long from the Fargo Dome. The Yotes pull off the upset 24-21 over North Dakota State.